wanted to speak. If you haven't, kind of take an exit to the back, fill out one. We're going to call people up randomly, and we're going to give you about 2 minutes.
Thanks for being here. I know that this is an issue about which most people are very passionate, and I thank you for taking the time to come in and to voice your concerns. I also thank Congressman Mike Bishop for making the trek here, and Joe Hewen and Hank Bopel also came in. This pipeline goes through his district as well, so thank you for being here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Yes, you still.
Thank you for having us here. My name is Katherine Johnson. I live in Pinckney, and the proposed route will run right alongside our property. It is my husband and I's forever home. We were at least hoping, and I came here tonight because I'm really confused. Is the pipeline, one, is it approved, and how far along in process is it? And two, do we have a snowball's chance in Hades of it not going through our property? Thank you.
Maker along that process. There have been some adjustments made in the interaction with Rover for exactly what placement is happening on the property. Beyond that, I have no further information.
My name is Mike Bishop, and I am a member of Congress and represent this community, and I'm grateful for the invitation to be here, and I'm grateful for the other members who are here too. I'm here to listen. I want to hear the issues, but I want you to know that I sent a personal letter to the Secretary of FERC, and this is dated June 17th when this first started to come to our attention. And I want you to know that I've asked the Secretary in my letter to be mindful of our concerns. I've raised concerns that have been sent to me. I will do the same again with another letter as soon as I'm finished with this discussion today, so that I have an updated list of issues that I can present to the Secretary. So thank you all for being here.
100 acres over off Hinchy Road that butts up to Timber Trace Golf Course. They're proposing to run 1,400 feet of pipe across our property. This property's been our family for 100 years. The last thing we ever wanted was a pipeline. So even though we're not for it, we have to negotiate with the ET Rover just in case we get taken into eminent domain. This is where our problem is. I've had, since last June, we've had 5 different landmen. We've been told numerous lies. The first one said he talked to my grandfather and needed his phone number. My grandfather passed away 20 years ago. So after that, we went and said, I need another landman. We agreed to the surveys because I know state law requires it. So we've worked with them every way. They've changed the route 3 times. They submitted an offer here June 6th. All their websites say they'll do real estate appraisals and that. This offer was a lowball insult. And when I confronted them, they said they took the average price of vacant farmland in Michigan to come up with a price. So they have not been doing real estate appraisals like they say.
I'm going to be, according to last map, about 88 feet from the pipeline. They bought out our neighbors' Rover's pretty deceiving because our neighbor's property was evaluated at about $165,000. ET Rover bought the 1 acre site to punch through Patterson Lake Road at $335,000. So they're playing games all over. What I really want to say is I'm really concerned about how they're trying to push things through and what kind of environmental
Training director for the Michigan Laborers Training and Apprenticeship Institute, Laborers International Union, North America Education and Training Fund. Just here to, kind of put some minds at ease maybe on the quality of the people that may work on this line if it goes. Our members are in the back room, many of them which live in the local area. You can see us rolling orange. Since 2002, our members have worked on over 70 million man-hours of transmission line and gas distribution system. So it's not their first time. These guys go through a qualification process that's mandated by the Department of Transportation. And when they go through this process, they have to be qualified in each state.
I just want to confirm because I know sometimes with newspapers, things can be misprinted. I just want to make sure, I'm curious, first off, we're talking natural gas going through these pipelines, right? Okay. My main reason for being here, I don't have property. I am in Pinckney, I'm downtown Pinckney, so I'm not on property that will be impacted by the construction of a pipeline. However, I do live in this community. I have children in these schools. So my reason for wanting to speak is safety. I'm not very knowledgeable about pipelines except from what I have read. I understand there are all kinds of things when it comes with pipelines, pump stations.
I'm Larry Ward with the Michigan Conservative Energy Forum. Work closely with a lot of the folks that are up here tonight. And I just wanted to say from our organization, we go around the state doing energy forums, talking to groups, and I give you all credit for showing up tonight to hear everyone's concerns. That's all I wanted to say.
An impacted property owner, and every time I think of this, I either want to cry or I want to yell. There are two main concerns I have. One is safety. If this line goes through, it will not only cut up our small family farm, it will be within 100 feet of my son's bedrooms. So that makes me very nervous for many reasons. My second one is the necessity. Do we really need this in Michigan? There are many other pipelines being proposed. There's one running just a few miles parallel to this one that's being proposed that will come up the eastern route where there are already existing pipelines. Can they be combined? Do we need this pipeline in our community? Does it need to go further than Defiance, Ohio? Those are questions that I don't feel have been answered. FERC, I feel, has not been forthright with a lot of information to those of us that have written comments to them. We don't get any response. So in addition to...
For 20 plus years, I've worked for a union here, my union brothers here for over 30 years. I've worked over, one of my jobs was at RL Cool Set, and we worked in Dundee, putting in a pipeline. And as you can see, has been no incidents or anything that has occurred. But I just want to say also that my kids still go to school here, and that's the reason I'm for this is because it creates jobs, good paying jobs, not your $9 to $10 jobs, with benefits, and I think that's
I live at 2421 Tipley. They are planning to bore a 1,500 to 1,800 foot, 5-foot diameter hole under our property, across a river, wetlands, across the road behind us and through the Roy Barland property. Out of that is going to come tailings that are going to probably end up being about 40, well, I'm way too nervous here. I am concerned about the route. I gave you this. When they changed where the terminal was going to be, I sent that letter and recommended that they at least have Rover look at it. I got it, one of our super agents told me that they had way too much invested in the property already and in the program. And FERC had flown over it back some time ago and had agreed that because they were going close to people's residence, they're making people tear down buildings, but that's okay because we need that gas. We tried to get them to think about going down ITC. That was shot down because, and they have no idea that that pipeline is there. Will it explode? Probably not. But if it does, it's going to make, they call it, fire marshal, state fire marshal calls it the incineration zone.
Enbridge, but my sister has, and I'm just read a one-page letter, and what her experience was. The land agent for Enbridge shows up at your house without notice to try and catch you off guard. They try to get you to sign a contract and liability release and agree to a dollar amount. But the contract liability thing is a hold harmless document, which means the homeowner will be responsible for all liability of the job taking place on their property. I'm just a messenger, okay? If anybody is hurt or any problem, But whether or not they really need more room, they'll try and take it all they can get for temporary workspace, even if it destroys your septic system, utilities, fencing, outbuildings. They say they need it, but in reality they do not. They clear all of your trees with a massive forest, destroying your sheep. That is only if they decide to call you back. So you are pretty much helpless when anything goes wrong, and it will. There's no option to contact anybody else higher up. They are also blatant liars in our septic system. They violated the agreement upon temporary workspace and came over our chain link fence, which cost us thousands of dollars to put up. They threatened to sue.
I do believe all constituents and landowners deserve to have their voices heard. That's why I'm here today too. And I'm asking everyone to consider the benefits of the road. Without pipelines, most places in the United States will not have access to low-cost natural gas. We'd have to rely on other countries, pay a lot more money for it. About a third of the natural gas will be in the pipeline in Michigan, the state of Michigan. That really is a lot of natural gas. And a lot of people that are heating with propane. Let me have my 5 minutes, please. This is a great opportunity to support jobs. You see all these labor behind me.
And I'm here not from this area. I'm actually from Osceola Township, but I'm actually speaking on behalf of all the affected property owners. And I speak from experience because we have through our property the Enbridge pipeline, the one that we had such major issues with in Marshall. And I know that it's very disruptive to have a pipeline go through your property. And we've endured the installation of 2 major pipelines, maintenance 2 different times on one of them, and the subsequent replacement of the Enbridge pipelines. And I'd like to view this from the perspective that the market has changed significantly since these pipelines were proposed. And I will list some of these are being used. They're being used at a 54% capacity, in other words. Per Kelsey L. Warren, the chairman.
Sierra Club Group, Crossroads, and we are your neighbors and your friends, all the members of the Crossroads Group. We live in the greater Livingston County area, and we all have great concerns about the pipeline for a number of reasons. There are photos around that show the destruction of personal property. If you've not driven through areas where pipelines have been constructed, you may not just be aware as to just how significant this destruction is of personal property. You can be driving on a dirt road and look down through a wooded area where a swath as wide as a 4-lane highway has taken away every living thing and turned into a muddy mess. When it's restored, supposedly, as homeowners have mentioned, there's runoff problems, trees are not replaced, and yards are not returned to their original form, nor are the old trees replaced. Young ones are there, and they're often at a far reduced number than originally. And so it's not just the destruction of people's lives as pipelines run through their yards, but it's also the health concerns. Even when there aren't leaks, often in the construction itself.
Today, my name is Karen Jones. I live at 85 Kennedy Court in Putnam Meadows. I respect the gentleman in the back. My dad was a union worker for 40 or 50 years. However, this pipeline is coming within 100 feet of our home. We built our home 10 years ago. We've invested our lives in it. We did the work ourselves. My son sleeps there. My daughter sleeps there. And, you know, people can say it's safe, but can you give me a 100% guarantee that it's not going to? I'm in the incineration zone. So let's say my family and I were at home. Well, what's going to happen is everything I own is going to be gone. But the concern I have is for safety. There are many houses within the incineration zone. And while I respect what people want jobs, I understand that. They have to consider, would you want to sleep there at night? You know, for the next 20, 30 years, making sure that this might not happen, because there's not 100% promise or however you want to call it, but it's not going to happen. Thank you.
I guess.
Yep.
Hi everyone, my name is Mariah Ureta. Right here I am representing Food and Water Watch. Food and Water Watch, we're an environmental nonprofit or safe and healthy food and water, obviously in the name Food and Water Watch, and also making sure that it's accessible to everyone. So I'm not just representing myself, but over hundreds of different people that have sent in public comments to FERC and have opposed and showed opposition to this pipeline. So it's not just me, I'm representing a few hundred folks right now. First and foremost, stepping aside from Food and Water Watch on a more personal level, I went to school and I graduated from Central Michigan University, which is located in Mount Pleasant, which is the oil and gas. I did my study of environmental studies, where I had lots of contact, did lots of research, had lots of interviews with folks that worked within the oil and gas business. Is what allows things like pipelines and highways to go through public property. And this, in some instances this makes sense, but what doesn't make sense to me is for private companies to have eminent domain. So for private companies to be allowed access. I'm not sure if folks realize, but when a public company has eminent domain rights to your property, they can come on and off your property at any time. It's really, really hard to navigate and communicate with them. Like Ron.
I live at 2580 Tip Lady Road here in Putnam, Michigan, Putnam Township. First thing I need to say is I'm not a part of a NIMBY movement. I'm a part of a group of citizens in the local area that believe a private company out of Texas doesn't have the right to take my property. I am a business owner myself. I have a small farm where I raise my children, and for 15 years have put food on the table that they know where the animals they raise comes from. That are also union members like myself who are working every day, working hard to put food on the table. What I have an issue with is companies that believe they have the right of eminent domain. Now I'm a humble history teacher and I don't know much, but I do know that when eminent domain was invoked, right, at the founding of our country, I don't believe those founders intended for the average private company to be able to take over simply because they have more money, more access to groups and organizations, commissions like FERC, to be able to take over a small family farm like myself. And I imagine there's a lot of other family farms and small residences and the like. The property is within 100 feet of that line as it goes in, or if it goes in. I'm not willing to concede that yet. This is a 42-inch line. It's going to be operated at a capacity of 1,440 PSI. According to PIMSA, that will have a blast range of approximately 1,122 feet. Again, my children are within 100 feet of that zone. We're asking our elected representatives to reject eminent domain should it come across their desks. We're asking them to revise current FERC policy by allowing something that is within 100 feet of my home, and certainly within in some cases 50 feet of homes, to have reasonable corridors, energy corridors, where that energy can be transported and can keep families and residents safe. That to me seems like sane public policy. Yes, it would cost ET Rover more money to do that, but I think it would keep our U.S. citizens safe. In terms of incidents, PIMSA keeps those incidents since 1970. There have been 11,000 incidents to this process. I don't know how many pipe trucks have exploded on the pipe, on the highways and that kind of thing. I imagine it's pretty high too. And I use gas. I'm no hypocrite. I use gas, and I want it to be a safe product that I, myself, and other Americans, should they choose to use it, can be operated safely. Of those 11,000 incidents, recent incidents in Texas, in Fresno, in our own local community in Chelsea, and then recently near Lubbock, Texas, taking the lives of 10, is an unsafe product and should never be allowed within our community. I thank you for your time.
And I'm a representative from the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and I appreciate the opportunity to address you this evening. I represent about 15,000 electrical workers in Michigan, about 1,200 in this immediate area. And I'm not here to talk about the routing of the pipeline or any of the negotiations that went on with landowners. What I'm here to talk about is jobs. what I want to do is dispel some of the myths that we've heard about these type of jobs. And one of them is that these are temporary jobs. And I have an issue with that. As a construction worker, their entire 30 or 40-year careers are made up of what these so-called temporary jobs. And they add up to a career. And I have an issue with the temporary part because it's no more temporary than a teacher who changes students every year, or a doctor who maybe sees his patients but once a year, or an elected politician who's elected for a short period of time, determined period of time. Now, I also want to talk about the labor that's going to be on this job. A lot of times people say, these are all people coming in from out of state.
Tonight, this has been a really big issue for this community. I'm Sue Kelly, I'm the Conservation Chair for the Crossroads Group of the Sierra Club. My comments were to reiterate the issue for the lack of need. We already know we are only using 54% of the available pipelines in our area. Even if all the gas that they want to ship through this line stays in Michigan, we already have the capacity to keep it here. So we need to remember that. The number one thing FERC needs to do right now is prove that there's a need, that there's a substantial need on the part of the public for this pipeline. And I would say from what you've heard, that has not been proven. And if you go into the FERC site and you read all of the comments from all these folks, you will hear so many different stories and so many different compelling reasons. And I've given you 3 letters that the Sierra Club has submitted to FERC. So please go in and read those. I've given you some resources to look at too, really good, nonpartisan, good, solid resources. The other thing I want to say is this is a good example of private industry making profit off of public pain. These people are losing property value, their kids are going to be sick if something happens, and who's profiting off of this? The oil and gas companies. So just wanted to add that we need to think about who's making the money off this and who's losing the money. Thanks.
I'm going to let Joe and Congressman Bishop have a few words. Did you want to say anything?
Again, thank you all for being here. I think we actually made it through the entire list of folks who wanted to speak, so thank you.
Of the ones I had.
I apologize. And others, make certain you communicate with us. We will work with the congressman in making certain that the information goes to FERC as well, so thank you.
My email...
Can I just say too, first of all, thank you all very much for being here. I'm going to be sending another letter to FERC, updating my previous letter with all the issues that I've heard tonight. And if you have, I have collected some information, some documentation that you provided. If you have more information that you'd like me to send along, please feel free to leave it here or to bring it up, and I'll make sure I add it in the packet when I send my next letter in. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I'm Mike Bishop, and I'm here with citizens concerned about the Rover pipeline in Livingston County. We just had a very energetic hour and some minute meeting. Looking forward to more input, and I'll be drafting a letter to the Federal Energy Commission on this subject in the near future.
Hi, I'm Representative Hank Vopel. I'm from the 47th District, which has Marion, Iosco, and Handy Township, which is impacted by the Rover pipeline. And I'm very pleased to be here and hear the comments of everybody, the concerns of property owners, and I would invite anybody to contact our office if you have any facts that weren't stated here today. We will try to continue monitoring this situation and do what we can at the state level. So thank you very much.
I'm State Senator Joe Hune, and we were here in Putnam Township, had a town hall listening session on the concerns, and there were a lot of folks that support the pipeline too, so we were here to get input from what the neighbors had to say about the proposed ET Rover pipeline plan, and we'll work with the congressman and make certain that the interest in that information is relayed to the federal government, this organization called FERC within the federal government that makes the ultimate decision.
I'm Sue Kelly. I'm with the local Sierra Club, the Crossroads Group. I'm here because there's profound issues that go along with this pipeline, and I'm very concerned that our elected officials hear the full story about the lack of the need. That's the big issue, is that we don't need this pipeline. And I'm in opposition, and so is the Sierra Club.
Judy Daubenmeyer, and I'm chair of the Livingston County Democratic Party.
and I'm here at the hearing on ET Rover Pipeline because I'm concerned about how this is going to impact this part of Livingston County. And we heard some very strong testimony this afternoon about the lack of need for this pipeline, the fact that very little, if any, of the gas will actually end up being used in Michigan, and that pipeline capacity in Michigan is already underused, vastly underused, only about 50%. So the need for this has not been demonstrated. At the same time, this lack of need is made even worse by the fact that many people live within what's called the incineration zone of the pipeline. Their children sleeping within 100 feet of the pipeline, and the safety concerns that they raised were very serious. The jobs were described as, good jobs, but, 1 year at most, as opposed to a pipeline that will be here for 50 years and pose a risk to families for the long term. So I hope that our elected officials will listen to these concerns and keep a watchful eye on FERC as it determines whether or not this pipeline is actually needed, and also on the company itself. If this were big government coming in and forcing this pipeline through these residents' backyards, everybody in Livingston County would be upset and angry. But since it's a private corporation, an out-of-state corporation that's doing this, I don't think we should give them a pass. We should give them the same sort of scrutiny that we would do if it were big government doing this to people.